President Joe Biden delivered one of the most high-stakes press conferences of his career at the NATO conference. Without the aid of a teleprompter, the president answered questions on a range of issues, with many focusing on his cognitive decline, health, and refusal to give up the Democratic nomination. The president made some catastrophic gaffes during the press conference, in particular referring to Donald Trump as the vice president.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Earlier in the day, Joe Biden made another embarrassing gaffe, accidentally calling the president of Ukraine Putin.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Joe Biden was then grilled about the gaffe by a journalist during the press conference, where he tried to backtrack.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to ask you about you mixed up Presidents Zelensky and Putin earlier today. And you now have sort of your key allies, including the British Prime Minister, the President of France, and the German Chancellor having to step in and make excuses for you on that. And officials here are saying off the record that your decline has become noticeable. Hasn't this now, frankly, become damaging for America's standing in the world? Thank you.
Did you see any damage to our standing in my leading this conference? Have you seen a more successful conference? What do you think? And the Putin piece, I was talking about Putin, and I said, and now, at the very end, I said, here, I mean, Putin. I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelensky. And then I added 5 other names. Look, guys, the idea anybody suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference. How many times did you hear in that conference, I know it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden, because Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is, well, anyway, I thought it was the most successful conference I've attended in a long time, and find me a world leader who didn't think it was.
Joe Biden's train wreck performance was slammed by social media users, with one saying, "Let's face it, Joe Biden is heading for a big loss." Another said, "This really just happened, not a cheap fake." As well as the internet slamming Joe Biden's performance, top Democrats are abandoning the president in droves. Representative Scott Peters wrote in a statement, "The stakes are high and we're on a losing course." He was joined by Representative Jim Himes from Connecticut, who is also the top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee. Himes urged the president to step down via a post on X that said Joe Biden should not risk his legacy as a great leader by continuing on in the race. Democratic Representative Eric Sorensen also called for Biden to step down following today's gaffes, releasing a statement saying, "I am hopeful President Biden will step aside in his campaign for president." Despite the criticism coming from all corners, Joe Biden is standing firm, vowing to continue the fight.
If I may, your convention is coming up where your delegates are pledged to make you the official nominee. If they have second thoughts, are they free to vote their conscience?
Obviously, they're free to do whatever they want, but I get overwhelming support. Overwhelming support. I won, I forget how many votes I won in the primary. Overwhelming. And so tomorrow, if all of a sudden I show up at the convention, everybody says we want somebody else, that's the democratic process. It's not